All right, it looks like we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Over 40 Living Epic Lives Facebook group. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And if you will, if you can hear me and you can see me, please type a 1 in the chat below. Please type a 1 if you can hear me and see me. All right. And if you will, let us know throughout this talk if you're watching live or on replay. And let us know where you're coming in from. We have people watching from all over the US and internationally. So we love it when we hear where you're coming in from. Okay, so I have a few slides. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to introduce to you our speaker today. All right, so today we have a continuation of, let me just hide this right here. All right, we have a continuation of the Fresh Start Summer Series with Cheryl and friends. And today we have our special guest, Kim Basler. She is a food freedom and mindset coach. So this summer series I'm doing is a collection of different experts. These are amazing people that have been featured in media, they've been in TV, they've been in magazines and so forth. And they all have a very awesome special message to share with each and every one of us this summer to help us get back on track now that things are starting to open up. And before we dive into that, I want to say a little introduction. Some of you are new to me, and I'd like to share with you how this group came to be. So my name is Cheryl. I'm an author, speaker, mindset coach, and aerialist, and I'm 53 years young. I have been a producer and host of a mind and body fitness show, founder of a 7-time award-winning boot camp, and founder of a wellness company. Throughout my life, I have endured everything from mental and physical abuse to being diagnosed with advanced arthritis, losing my career and long-term boyfriend, and more. Starting over in my 50s was one of the most unexpected challenges I've ever endured. And ironically, it has been proven to be the best thing to ever happen to me. I specialize in helping women and entrepreneurs over 40 discover where their blocks are, how to rewrite their story, and create the life of their dreams. The methodologies I teach are the very techniques I used to transform my life from feeling like my best years were over to finding my light, writing a book, starting 2 new businesses, and attracting the man of my dreams, and much more. So what's my point in telling you this? It's because it's never too late to have your epic encore. All right, so make sure you stay tuned to the end. I have a special announcement for you from both Kim and I. And today our talk is going to be 5 steps to finding freedom with food and self-acceptance. Kim is going to talk to us about restriction, how restriction leads to feeling out of control. We're going to talk about watching our words. We're also going to cover trusting your inner voice. She's also going to cover how you need to spend time with yourself. And lastly, she's going to cover why accepting where you are is paramount. And if you will, like I mentioned before, please let us know if you're watching live or on replay. And throughout this talk, please let us know a takeaway, something that has moved you. And each time you let us know a takeaway, it helps us know that what we're doing is providing a great service to you. All righty. So I'll come back on camera now. Okay, Kim, I'd like to officially introduce you. Come on out.
Ta-da!
Yay!
Hello, hello. Hi, Cheryl. Nice to have this time with you and your group. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. So before we dive into today's topic, could you tell us, I know you've been through some major struggles in your life, and the purpose of this series is, now the COVID restrictions are starting to relax. Now I know where you are, you're in Canada, and it's a little different out there. You guys are still, unfortunately, a little bit on the lockdown. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So here in the States, we're finally starting to get back out, and many people are starting new careers. Many people have lost careers. Many people are going back to their old job, are creating something new. They're getting married, they're getting divorced. They've got all these things going on. Now, one common thing that happened last year, and I'm sure you've seen it with your clients, is many of us kind of dropped off the fitness wagon. And now that we're getting back on our goals, there is a really good chance we're starting to beat ourselves up a little bit about what we did this past year and maybe years prior to that. Now, I myself, being in the fitness industry, you can certainly guess I've beat myself up a zillion times. So I can't wait to hear more about what you're going to share with us today. So if you will, let's lead off by telling us, what are some of the biggest struggles you overcame? How did it lead you to doing what you do today?
Yeah, thank you. And because my story is a long one, I'll just start by saying that it's a 3-decade long story of me disconnecting to myself. And I started at 12 years old, already at that young age of figuring out somehow, through many reasons, I'm sure, that I needed to change my body. And that led me into this dieting world that lasted for me for 3 decades of my life. And we have a bond, you and I, that I also started in the fitness industry, working in the fitness industry at 16 years old, which is a great industry. It's important that we take care of ourselves. But unfortunately, because from a early age, I had this disconnection with myself and this feeling like that I wasn't enough, it led me into a lifetime of people pleasing, of perfectionism, of comparing myself to other people. And I always say, like, the way those limiting beliefs and those inner struggles for me, they led into my struggles with my body, with an eating disorder in high school, and years of disordered eating, everything from emotional eating to binge eating to restriction to using supplements to try and, like, unsafe supplements to try and change me. And what ended up happening is all of these challenges and these expectations that I was putting on myself all of those years. And I didn't really, I think when we're young, we think we're invincible and we don't necessarily realize what we're doing. But that muscle, that willpower muscle that we're told we're supposed to have, the push, that masculine energy, there comes a point for many of us where it grows tired. We grow tired. And yet we're feeling so lost and feeling like we're the one that's failing. We're the one that's supposed to be able to keep up with all the expectations that the world keeps putting on us. And so for me, my deepest struggles, because as much as I struggled with an eating disorder, as much as I struggled with periods of my life where, I wasn't doing things that I was very proud of, but my deepest struggles came in the 2013 to 2016 years of my life. Because at that point in time, I was working in management. I was with 2 children that were small. I had a husband, but I was exhausted because I was trying to lead a team of 75 people. I was trying to keep everyone happy, and I was trying to keep my family happy, and I was failing miserably at it. And what ended up happening is my health started to fight back at me, because the body will only take that abuse for so long. And it wasn't even just physical abuse I was putting on my body through, like, years and years of exercise obsession and, not feeding my body what it needed. But most importantly, it's time with myself, it's sleep, it's quality time, it's laughter, it's spontaneity, it's time with my spouse, like all of those things. And eventually my life started falling apart. My health started to break down. My marriage was breaking down. I was losing myself in that time of my life. And it was a deep struggle of mine. But one of the struggles that I can say I'm so grateful for, because I believe that life is happening for us, and it taught me so many beautiful lessons. And it taught me that I now have the ability to use what I've learned to help other people. And that's what feeds me now.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. I can totally relate to what you've been through, and everyone can relate to what you've been through. I think everyone has a struggle at some point in their lives, unless, they're genetically gifted and they can eat whatever they want and never have to worry about it. But I've worked with so many people over the years that no matter what they do, they continue to struggle, whether it's eating the right foods or beating themselves up and so forth. So, but the good news is this is what you do for a living. And so you are called, give us your title again.
Yeah, I call myself a food freedom and mindset coach because for me, my approach now to my own health, my own happiness, and what I want other people to know is that we don't need to feel like we need to like have all this willpower and restrict ourselves and feel like we're powerless around food. Like we don't need to do this. And when we can start to recognize that our bodies are always our teachers and that our bodies are all diverse and health is not one way of looking or one way of feeling. We get to find what that is for us. And the mindset piece, I mean, you have to, everything starts from our mind, right? Absolutely everything. Even for me to stay on the path that I am now, I mean, I'm almost 4 years now into the, well, you know, around 4 years into this path. It is a daily decision. It's not like all those limiting beliefs have just gone away, right? Like they were in me from a little child. So I've had to learn how to take care of my mind and to set myself up for this, because if I take care of me, then I'm going to be able to keep doing what I'm doing, right? So it's all perfect. Everything has happened the way it's meant to.
That's so awesome. I love it. All right. So we have a few people joining us right now. Kat says, good morning from California. And Jay says hello from the greater Chicago area. And Danny says hello from Millington, Tennessee. So thank you, everybody who is checking in with us. And throughout this talk, please let us know a takeaway, something that's really resonating with you in what Kim is saying. And so with no further ado, oh, Daria says hello from Washington, D.C. So
Hello.
yeah, we've got people from all over. So Kim, let's go ahead and dive into the 5 points that you want to share with us today.
Absolutely. So when I was thinking about what 5 points I wanted to talk about, because there's many things, I wanted to start with, you know, and these are in no specific order, but I want to talk about the concept of restriction. And restriction is not necessarily just about restricting food, but it's also about restricting joy and sleep and like all of the things that we say that we're not allowed to have. Now, I'm going to take the time because this is a talk on food freedom and self-acceptance. I'm going to talk about restriction when it comes to food. Now, depending on, and again, I like to be very open with who I'm talking to, recognizing that we all have our own choices and we all have our own bodies and what we choose to do. But I want everyone that's listening to know that when we restrict calories, when we restrict food groups, when we restrict pleasure from our eating experiences, we will feel out of control. Like we so often think that we are the ones with the problem. But if you're not giving your body what it needs, and this is the thing, I'm trained in eating psychology and mind-body nutrition through an institute in Colorado. And I learned a lot there because my foundation all these years came from the fitness industry, and it came from you need to eat less and you need to exercise more and you're going to achieve everything that you want. But we know, and I've learned a lot, that biologically the body will get what the body needs. Okay, if you try to starve yourself, and I mean, I did this. This is why I went from my times where I was restricting and starving myself, and I'd eventually lead to a binge. This is what happens. The body wants food, and it will get what it needs. We can't outsmart our bodies. Okay, that's most important. The other thing is that our food is always here to teach us something. So if you are the type of person right now who has a relationship with food where food has been a source of support or comfort for you, please don't feel shame around that. Food is a thing that it does make us feel good. And if you think about the other options that are out there that people are using as a coping skill for life, you know, food is probably one of our safest ones. So if you take it away from yourself and you haven't built in new coping skills, you are eventually going to go back to it because you haven't found something else to support you. And most importantly, I know that I did many, many years of eating the same foods over and over and over. I was not excited. They were very bland. I wasn't necessarily always paying attention when I was eating my food. And so again, I know now through everything that I've learned about intuitive eating and mind-body nutrition is we have to receive pleasure from our food. Okay, this is very, very important. If I'm eating the same bland food all the time, I'm going to be wanting more of it. So please know that you do not have a problem, that you do not need to. People think that if I have a problem, I'm going to talk about sugar for a very quick second. If people think that if I have a problem with sugar, I need to abstain from it. I am a sugar addict and I am going to abstain from it. I know there may be some of you that say, well, sugar does, it lights up your brain. Of course it does, but so do other fun things like sex. Let's just talk about that for a second, okay? Lots of things light up our brain.
Yes.
But if we restrict everything from our bodies, we are going to want it. Think about any of you that have children. If you have a child and you say to your child, you can't have this, this is exactly what your child is going to want. So please know that, most importantly. We don't need to restrict. We need to learn how to be with food.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. Pause for just, don't lose your thought.
Sure.
Danny is saying everything she is saying is relatable. He can totally relate. Jay says, I've been saying that it's not necessarily what you eat, but how you're eating food. Yep, very true.
So true. Yes, exactly. And that, look up things like mindful eating, right? Like so many of us, Cheryl, we are eating distracted. There's an expression that the way we do life is the way we do food. And if we're fast, and we're working at our desk and we're eating our foods during all that time, those are the things we have to start to work with. Yeah.
That's right. I love it. I love it. Okay. So what is the next point you want to share with us? This is so good, by the way. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm happy to be doing this for you. Mm-hmm. So the next one is to watch your words, because your mind is always listening. And this is a really, really important one, because I know for me, I beat myself up for years. This is what we're doing. We are beating ourselves up. We are judging ourselves constantly. And I think that for some reason, we think that the harder we are on ourselves, the more successful we will be in achieving our goals. And that's not what we need. So we have to watch our words. I won't go into this in great depth because we don't have the time to, but I need you to know that whatever the words are that follow the words I am, so I am this, I am that, whatever you say after I am, your mind is going to believe. Yes. Our minds they can't take all the words from a big sentence, right? They're only going to hear certain words. So if you keep telling yourself that you're, I'm going to use language that people use. If you keep telling yourself, I'm going to be fat for the rest of my life, if you keep saying that no one is ever going to love me the way I look right now, this is exactly what you're going to walk out into the world with this messaging. It literally consumes us. These stories that we say about ourselves, they consume us and we start to become them. So even if what I believe when it comes to our words, what we say, we have to believe our words. So if right now you're listening right now and you're feeling out of control with your relationship, with your body, with food, think about, the next best place that you'd like to be. I'm not going to go from I hate my body is disgusting, to I love my body. That might be very, very, you might never love your body. I want to say that too. But I can say I'm learning to accept my body. I can say I'm learning to trust my body. I'm learning to trust myself around food. That language is incredibly empowering. And that's what we need long-term.
Wow. That was really, really good. That resonated with a lot of people. Judson says, so much truth here. Kat says, everything she is saying is true, true, true. She is singing my song. I love what she said about the food. I love sugar. I've always loved it, especially sweets. Yes.
Well, and I'm just going to say to her that the sweetness is playing a role for us in our life. And please, we don't need to judge ourselves for that sweetness. There's a lot of biological reasons why we want sweet. That is why breast milk and formula is sweet. It is the taste buds on our tongue. They are predominantly sweet taste buds. They keep our bodies alive. Okay. But if you have a relationship with sugar or sweets that is in excess, just understand that this is the deep stuff I go into with my clients, is understand that it's playing a role for you in your life. What I like to say is where are you lacking sweetness? Where are you lacking fun and joy in your life? And that might be where food is playing a role for you right now.
Yeah. Wow. I love this. Okay. What's another tip you'd like to share with them?
Okay, so this one is to trust your inner voice. And this one has been so important to me because if I would have listened, I call them our whispers. right? It's our ego tends to be very loud. It's the bossy voice, it's the judgmental voice, but the intuitive whisper, that little whisper that wants to guide us. And as I always say, it likes to guide our soul. It's our soul's compass telling us to get us back on path. Those those sounds, they come in very whispery like. So that whisper, I ignored it for so many years. And I can think back, and I'm sure though everybody that's listening, you can think back on times where you were off track, where you were doing things that weren't necessarily in alignment with your life path, with your soul's mission. And you had those whispers, you had those gut feelings. Know that they're here to teach you something. And what I often say is we don't have to judge them, especially because, like, for me, for the longest time, the whispers were telling me to slow down. The whispers were telling me to not feel so addicted to the scale, because I used the scale every single day from the age of 12 until I was 41. And I had those whispers and they were trying to help me. People were trying to help me, but they're here to teach. Listen to the whispers, find out what they're here, and just, try them out a little bit. If your body is saying, you know what, like, you don't need to exercise today, or your body is saying, you know what, you need a little bit more food today, your body is hungry. This is our body's way of talking to us. Listen to your body. It is here to guide you and to take care of you.
Wow. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Oh, Kat says that resonates with me regarding the sweetness. I am going to dig deeper into that.
Amazing.
There's something you just said that I would love to circle back on. The scale. Okay, so
Yes.
I know that the topic of the scale is one that we could like dive into for hours, but I would love to know your opinion, because I know as a personal trainer, that is something that I used to use as a measuring stick for my clients. And I also would tell them muscle weighs more than fat, don't worry about it, you've got muscle and so forth. But can you talk about the psychological things we are doing to ourselves when we are addicted to that scale?
Oh, this is a whole topic in itself, Cheryl. As you said, here's my thing on the scale. Anybody that knows me knows my feelings on it, and you have to know yourself. I'm not going to say that the scale is, a harmful tool for everyone. Some people can use it once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month. It's fine for them. They have educated themselves. They understand that the scale will go up and down and up and down. And it's just something that they kind of use as a gauge, but it's not like this, chain that's wrapped around their ankle that makes choices for them all day.
Right.
If you are the type of person, though, that when you get on the scale, it can change your mood immediately. And my husband, we always joke about this, because not joke about it because it was a serious time, but when the scale didn't say what I needed it to say, and that could even be that I just gained 2 ounces, nothing. If I didn't see it, it immediately shifted my mood. So my mood was changed because of that number. And my choices for the rest of the day were dictated for that number. So if that number didn't, say enough weight loss, I would exercise more. I would eat less. Like, those are the choices that I made. I also want to say, on the flip side, if you can only be happy, if you can only love who you are when the scale is reading a certain number, that is a slippery slope. And we have to recognize that so many of us are comparing our bodies to periods of time in our life where we were lighter, and we are aspiring to get lighter. And first of all, we have to understand that life changes, our bodies will change. But I also want to say that some of us were not necessarily weighing what our body wanted it to weigh. Everybody has a set point, which is basically our body's number that it wants to be at comfortably. But we get greedy. So understand, and I look back on times where I weighed so many different lighter weights, and I know what was required for me to weigh that number. I also know how it caused me to feel out of control, feel fear around food, all of those things. So I just think it's important for you to be honest with yourself, listen to your whispers, okay? And I'm not saying it's easy to stop using the scale, because I couldn't just stop using it after I had to like wean off of it slowly. I don't miss it anymore. It's the best decision I could have ever made for my life.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, there's lots I could say here, Cheryl, but I think those are my main thoughts.
That's cool. That's really cool. And thank you to everyone who is giving us different comments throughout this talk. We really appreciate it. So keep those comments coming. And Kat says, yes, slippery slope. And Alba says, me too. I gave up carbonated drinks back in college, but I can't give up chocolate. Yes.
Hey, and you know what? I say you don't need to give up chocolate. You know, you might choose to have a different relationship with chocolate, but we don't need to give up chocolate. Not at all.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Jay just had a golden one. He says, I was reacting to the scale like a lot of people react to a daily horoscope reading. Jay,
Oh,
that was good.
yeah.
And people do. And so can we give them, I'll throw out this from time to time, my students or my clients that were addicted to the scale, I said, try a measuring tape instead, or try your favorite pair of jeans that do not have spandex in them. Use those as your measuring stick. Can you get in? Can you close them? You know, that could be, you know, something a little less dangerous mentally. So do you do any tricks
Totally.
like that with your clients as well? Not tricks, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
know what you mean. Yeah. And you know what? It's going to be client dependent, right? And I think my ultimate goal, I shouldn't say this, my ultimate goal is I want us to be able to learn how to love ourselves. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big goal, but I want us to learn how to love ourselves no matter what, because anything can happen that can cause us to potentially not be able to maintain that number and maybe even maintain that size. And I just want us to recognize that we are more than that size that is on the label inside of our jeans. We are more than that number. That's truly my deepest message for everyone that's listening. And it's so much of it has to do with my own story. It's really important to me that is found and heard today.
Oh my gosh, this is so good. Thank you. Okay, now
You're
are there
welcome.
any more tips that you wanted to tell us? I think there's one more. Or no?
Yeah, I think there's two more, but we can
Oh,
kind
yes,
of squeeze
please.
them up a little bit.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Do them both.
we're good. Okay. I'm looking at my cheat notes here. Okay, so you know what? This is one's really, really important when it comes to our relationship with food and our bodies. And I know this group has both men and women in it. Okay. So we need to prioritize our self-care. So many of us, when we struggle with our relationships with food, and I want everyone to know that we all emotionally eat. So I don't want you to think that you are supposed to stop emotionally eating. How can we eat and pull out emotions out of our body? Like, that's not going to happen. Emotions are with us all the time. It's beautiful. If you are using food excessively to numb, to find happiness, to help with boredom, to help with loneliness, understand, or stress. I want to talk about stress eating, because if you're stress eating, generally speaking, there's going to be a low level of self-care. And no one can take care of you but you. And that's a really, really difficult thing, especially as women. I just have to say that we are conditioned to take care of other people.
Yeah.
And that's really hard, because you will have people tell you that you're being selfish, that you should put other people's needs before your own. But trust me, if you're struggling with food and food is your place to de-stress, instead of trying to just control yourself with food, bring more self-care into your life, and know that my level of self-care and what I do to take care of myself is likely going to be different for you, Cheryl, and different to everyone that's listening right now. What feeds you? What restores you? Yes, it's great to sit on a couch and binge watch Netflix if you want to do that. It's fantastic. But does it restore you versus taking a walk in the woods, or by doing some meditation, or by talking with a friend and talking out some of those feelings? So please know that self-care, and I know it's a buzzword, but it is incredibly important. And we all have the same 24 hours, right? So how we choose to use them. And you just need to make sure you're on the top of your list, because if we all know that the saying of put your oxygen tank on first. Yes, we need to.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love this. Judson, and we can do the next one too. Judson says,
Sure.
Self-care, so important. Daria says, this is so true, going through this situation right now. Judson also says meditation, and he put little hearts next to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? Like meditation, you can be like, oh my goodness, I can't do that. I can't sit still. Let meditation be what it is for you. I consider meditation going for a walk in the woods. I don't need to also, like, do I sit in silence sometimes? You bet I do. But I also know that meditation can be found in movement. It's about quieting our minds.
Yes.
That's really what meditation is, and spending time with ourselves and just connecting to ourselves. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll go into my last one, and this one is a big one, and I think I'm going to finish with it, obviously. And this is a hard one, especially if people are uncomfortable in their bodies. The pursuit of weight loss is usually because we are uncomfortable in our bodies, whether it be because of the size of them, whether it be because we are struggling from a body image standpoint to be in our bodies. But when we choose behaviors that are punishing our body because of how much we hate our body, we will not get where we need to go. I punished my body into very small sizes, and I still was unhappy with who I was. So the word acceptance is really important. And maybe even before acceptance, we can work on respecting our bodies, knowing that, yeah, we've had challenges, we've had loss, we've had grief, we've had all these things. And maybe you made choices that you're not proud of. Forgive yourself for those. Have some self-compassion, respect where you are, honor it, and then just say, what's something that I can do today to give some love back to my body today? I know it's difficult to let go of the pursuit of weight loss, but trust me on this, if you take care of yourself holistically and just focus on changing your body from a place of how it wants to feel, if your body's holding on to weight, and maybe it's been an armor, maybe it's been protecting you, when you take care of yourself and you heal from the inside, your body will take care of itself, and it'll release what it no longer needs to carry.
Wow. Another mic drop. That was so awesome. That was so amazing. Kat says, absolutely. Self-care is priority. Daria says, respecting versus accepting. Yes, she loves that. Oh my gosh. This has been wonderful, Kim. Thank you so much. I know these insights are going to really help so many people. And those of you who are watching, please, again, let us know if you're watching live or on replay, and give us a takeaway, something that Kim has said and shared with us that has really moved you today. Judson says, surrender the weight image and acceptance of where you are now. Yes, so true.
Yeah.
So true. Okay, so I'm going to share some slides on how everyone can get in touch with Kim. And then when I come back, Kim, you can give us any last closing remarks. All right?
Sure.
Here we go. All right. Can you see my screen? There it is. It kind of hid on me. Okay, so thank you again, Kim, so much for being here. We really, really appreciate you, and everything that you've been sharing with us has been so deep and meaningful. So for those of you who would like to get in touch with Kim, you can go to Kim Basler. How do you say your last name, Kim? Basler?
You're doing it. Yeah, you're doing it perfectly, Cheryl. It's Basler. Yep.
KimBasler.com. Now, on Kim's website, she has different offerings, and you can also book a consultation with her. And I'm going to put her website and her consultation link inside the live here. I'll do it as soon as we end. And also, for those of you throughout this summer, we're going to have a different guest every week. So if ever you forget the guest's website name, you can go to my main website, CherylBroughton.com/guests. And then you're going to be able to see all the different guests and all their links to their websites and so on. And also a reminder for those of you who would like a copy of my book, you can go to CherylBroughton.com, or you can go to Amazon, search Your Epic Encore. And right now I have the digital version of my book for $1.99. You can also get the printed version for $12.99 on Amazon. And so thank you again. Let us know a takeaway on how this talk has helped you. And I'm going to stop my screen share. All right, Kim. So let us know one last remark. Any closing remarks?
Where I want to finish with this is just anything that you're doing, if I can encourage you, do it for the way you want to feel. So when you're choosing your food choices in the kitchen, how do you want food to make you feel? When you're moving your body, when you're exercising, how do you want your body to feel? That is going to take us long term. And that's where I want to finish it, and let your heart lead the way, because it'll guide you. I promise you that.
Oh, I love it. I love that. And I must share, we got a few more comments from people. This is awesome. Judges, wow, they keep coming in. This is awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing. Judson says, love you, Cheryl. Great guest. Duria says, best takeaway for me. Where do I need sweetness in my life? Alva says, watching live from California. Another great interview. Thank you so much. Lots to think about. Jay says, thank you. Danny says, I really did enjoy it. Very helpful to analyze my thoughts. And Kat says she has several takeaways. One takeaway is to not allow the scale to dictate how your day will be. How your day will be.
Got it. I love it.
Yes.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. Thank you, Kim. And thank you to our audience again. We have a different speaker every week this summer. Come back and join us again. And I love to sign off each and every talk that I do with this little statement right here. Never, ever forget, it's never too late for your epic encore. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you. Bye-bye.